It is an unfortunate reality that most people, when they walk into the gym, first place they go is the dumbbell rack. Well, this is usually bullshit, okay? But sometimes dumbbell work is a very important part of assistance training for serious lifters. Dumbbell bench presses, dumbbell presses, dumbbell curls, certainly dumbbell snatches and cleans, all become, at some point in an intermediate lifter's program, a very important group of assistance exercises. We thought today that we'd show you guys exactly how the dumbbell rack at Wichita Falls Athletic Club is constructed to see if you can get any helpful pointers on exactly how you might want your dumbbell rack to be built. First off, let's look at the dumbbells here. This dumbbell rack is composed of plate-loaded dumbbells. You'll notice that all along this top row, we have a collection of gray metal cast plate dumbbells. These things are made out of 1-inch exercise plates. Now, 1-inch exercise plates refers to the hole, the diameter of the hole inside the exercise plate. You can usually pick these things up for 25 cents a pound used in secondhand sports stores. And we have built this entire dumbbell rack out of exercise plates. And you'll notice also that as we walk back and forth along this dumbbell rack, that they're all basically the same size. Exercise plates come in this standard 8-inch diameter. They're about 8¼ inches in diameter at the outside. And the dumbbell itself has got about a 5 or 5½ inch opening in between the plates to fit your hand. Now, if you were to construct the dumbbells out of taller plates than that, plates with a larger than an 8½ inch or 21 centimeter diameter, you would find that the distance between the plates inside would have to be greater too, because if you take a tall plate, they don't give you the room in between for the handle that you need to be able to move your wrist around inside the dumbbell for exercises like presses and stuff. You'd be banging your arm into the plates all the time. So this diameter is terribly important, and that width of the dumbbell handle. I don't think we've got anything but these junky dumbbells here about 6 inches in between, but most of them are about 5½, the opening for the handle. Now here's the other important feature of these dumbbells. I want you to come in and look at this very closely with me. This dumbbell handle is probably 30 years old. Note that the handle itself is a sleeve of sheet metal that revolves around the bar stock core of the dumbbell. There are washers on either side of this rotating sleeve, and a weld on each end holds the dumbbell set together. Note the slop in the plate. The slop in the plate is the most important aspect of the dumbbell. And what it does is allow you to spin the load for, say, a dumbbell snatch. As I rack the dumbbell snatch, my hand spins. Look at it from the back, watch my knuckle. If I were to use a cast dumbbell for that, and you see our cast dumbbells along the bottom row right there, there's no movement inherent in the dumbbell. I would have to do a dumbbell snatch with a cast dumbbell and actually let the thing spin in my hand. I don't like to do that, and every dumbbell exercise involves the necessity to have the handle of the dumbbell free to move around inside the plates. So we have constructed all of these dumbbells specifically to do just that thing. They are of different types of construction. This particular one here is made out, this handle is kind of fat. It's made out of a piece of knurled pipe that fits over the 1-inch bar stock that forms the shaft of the dumbbell. It's also assembled with some slop in the plates, and held together with a terminal weld, a big heavy washer loaded on the outside of the rack of dumbbells. This one here is the same old style rotating sleeve. This one is a completely different one. This is a commercial dumbbell handle that was prepared to accept a bolt, a threaded bolt on either end. We have taken the bolt off and replaced it with a weld. And you see the washer that holds that dumbbell together. Also note the numbers on the dumbbells. This is terribly important. Note that the dumbbell rack here in Wichita Falls Athletic Club is not made up of dumbbells of even 5-pound jumps. The reason for that is nobody's dumbbell rack that's made out of plates is made up of even 5-pound jumps. If your gym has got a dumbbell rack made up of plate-loaded dumbbells and it is marked in even 5-pound increments, that is fiction. Weigh them. That's not what they weigh. Here, we have provided all of the information for you to know exactly what the dumbbell weighs, so that you know exactly what you're lifting, so that if you're doing a progressively loaded dumbbell program, you can be assured that you have all of the data you need. I can assure you that when we first weighed these dumbbells, we were very surprised about what we saw, because when I originally bought this gym many years ago, these things came already marked. We got a hair up our asses one day and said, let's weigh these things and see what we come up with. The pair of dumbbells marked 40 were actually these 37s. And the pair of dumbbells marked 45s were these 43s. And if I remember correctly, those were marked 48, and they actually weighed, oh God, I can't remember. There was some, one was heavier than it actually was. The whole thing was all messed up. So what we did was we took them over to the scale, and we took a paint pen, and a wire brush, we scratched off the bad information and wrote the correct information on all these dumbbells. And we have continued to do that. Every time we add a pair of dumbbells, the actual weight of the dumbbell goes on it. Now, it doesn't look pleasing, but this is the actual information. It's important to note that this pair of dumbbells is only 4 pounds lighter than this pair of dumbbells. If you're going to make accurate decisions about what you're going to do, you need to know how much weight you're lifting. And this is the truth. Now, let's see, what else can we tell you? Dumbbell exercises all involve some spin. Everybody has seen dumbbell curls. You do this with them and you move your hands around, and if your dumbbells are constructed correctly, the plates spin around the dumbbell handle as you have a firm grip on it. One of the other things that we do with dumbbells in here is we do heavy dumbbell benches. I've got these 2 flat benches down here at the dumbbell rack. These flat benches are constructed the same way that a contest bench is. We have 2 of them over here. It's a 17-inch tall bench, 4 foot long, 12 inches wide. These benches sit in front of the dumbbell rack so that we can do heavy dumbbell benches on them. You'll notice that we have dumbbells all the way up to 128. We have determined that dumbbells in Wichita Falls, heavier than 128 pounds, collect more dust than they do fingerprints, so we cut them off there. We had some 147s one time, and I think I salvaged all of those plates and built them into all these intermediate jumps so that we had more fine gradations in the more moderate numbers. But you'll notice that all of these dumbbells right through here all look the same. We had these made in the shop here in town that makes all, pretty much half of the equipment in this gym. More than that, probably 2/3 of the equipment in this gym is made in Johnny Brown's shop at Brown Brothers Welding. Johnny is an excellent equipment builder, and if you talk to him nicely, maybe you can get him to build your stuff too. 940-855-1911 is his number. Now notice these little goozers right here. These are some shop-built washers. Note the position on the inside of this dumbbell. All of this dumbbell rack down through here was constructed by Johnny Brown to my specs. This is 1 1/16 inch bar stock. It's not terribly common, but it feels good in the hands. We determined a long time ago that with really, really heavy dumbbells, if you were actually going to use them for high reps, a fat handle compromises your ability to do that. And if you don't believe it, that 2-inch bar over there that weighs 75 pounds is just a lot of fun to play with, and you're welcome to come in here and try it. The upshot of the thing is the fat dumbbell handle minimizes the number of reps that you can do. So we have got all of these things standardized down to 1 1/16. 1 1/16 bar stock was the way these things were constructed, and these little washers go on the inside and space out the dumbbells, the dumbbell plates rather. Then the dumbbell was constructed with the requisite amount of slop to allow the handle to spin. All of these heavier dumbbells are built exactly like this. And you can see the odd collection of plates that some of them are composed of. Now, let me show you the little trick. Let's go back down here because I'm old and I'm not warmed up. How we get on the bench with the dumbbells. Dumbbells don't need a hell of a lot of maintenance. All they need is for you not to screw them up by dropping them on the floor. Now, you can drop a dumbbell on the floor straight, like that. You can do a dumbbell snatch, and if it's a heavy enough weight, you can drop it on the floor safely. The way you drop it on the floor that breaks it is to drop it on its edge like that. And this is what happens when people try to do dumbbell benches on the bench in the incorrect way. They'll lay down on the bench, they'll do their set. Each rep they think starts at the bottom because that's the way they load it up on the bench. They get stuck at the bottom. Now what are they going to do with the dumbbells? Generally speaking, they set one down, then they set the other side down. This is not good for a couple of reasons. First off, it screws up the dumbbells and they don't heal. Okay? Second, it has the potential to tear your shoulder up pretty well, especially if you're working down at that end of the dumbbell rack. So, what we've got here is a rule. Here's the sign. Look at that nice rack of dumbbells, and this is how we take care of them. This is the rule in Wichita Falls Athletic Club. Don't drop the dumbbells on the floor. Ever. At all. Don't do it. If you follow this rule, you will never screw your dumbbells up. But it's important to learn how to get these things out of the rack and use them correctly. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you exactly how this is done. Even with a relatively heavy dumbbell, this is quite easy to do. I'm going to take these 73s out of the rack. Now for safety's sake, so I don't have to do a bunch of aerobic work, I'm going to move the bench press. I'm going to move the bench right over here. This is technically called a flat bench. That thing over there is an upright support bench. I'm going to move the flat bench right over in front of the dumbbells I'm going to use, these 73s. Now watch carefully what I do. I'm going to take these things out of the rack, and without setting them on the ground, and without presenting even the possibility of the dumbbells ever touching the ground, I'm going to load up on the bench, I'm going to get in position to do the set, and then I'm going to get off of the bench, all without anybody's help except mine. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to set the dumbbells on my legs. I'm lined up with the bench, and now, with essentially straight elbows, I let the momentum of my layback carry the dumbbells into position. I'm going to do the set. 19, 20, 21. Now I'm through. Note that I have not misjudged my last rep. Setting up is the opposite of getting down. Then I walk over, set the dumbbells back in the rack. Never having exposed my shoulder to the debilitating effects of first one side then the other side hitting the ground, and having never dropped the dumbbells on the welds. This is the best way to handle the dumbbells. And if your rule is to never let them drop on the floor, then you will have a healthy dumbbell rack and a set of healthy shoulders. Oh, I can't think of anything else to tell you about dumbbells right now, so I guess we'll wrap things up. And as usual, we appreciate you watching this video. Thanks.